We have some beautiful offerings today.
Beautiful.
Starting with Jeremy Lawrence. If Jeremy is here, is Jeremy here? Do we see Jeremy?
I'm here.
All right, so let me pull up Jeremy's offering. Jeremy, how are you? It is nice to have you here.
Nice to be here.
All right. Jeremy, you have the floor.
For the man who makes music with the wave of a baton, a psalm by Yaakov David. The symphony of you vibrates the earth neath my feet. I'm seduced day after day by the sounds you create. And night after night they weave a spell till I wake. But there are no notes, no sounds to be heard. You utter no words, still you resound in my ears. You make my earth spin round your heavenly sphere, whose fire warms my surface with burning desire. Lest I burn from its heat, you retreat to a tent, and I revolve around you, my groom, 7 times, my golden warrior who conquered my heart. And I'll follow you to the end of the sky. At the edges of space, your hand touches my face. The book of your love is perfect, restoring my soul. With simple trust, I make my vows unto you. You gladden my heart, your wishes are mine to fulfill, if you will, to the end of my days. In the pools of your eyes, I see a heart faithful, honest, and just, more desirable than all the gold in the world, sweeter than honey dripping from honeycomb. My love, I am yours, your love, my reward.
Beautiful, Jeremy.
Wait.
Yep. Oh, I didn't see those last. Okay.
Mistakes I may make, perfection evades even you. If I trip on our way, catch my hand lest I fall. Hold me tight by your side so I never transgress, never betray our covenant or its holiness. May the words on my lips and the palpitations of my heart be all that you want them to be, for you are my love and you are my rock. You're my eternity.
Wow, Jeremy, this is amazing. So speak to us.
Well, like Sherry, I guess, you know, I thought this was a love poem. And what I did, I did what I've done often is I go to the linear art scroll, which prints word for word from right to left. So you don't know the translation until you put it back together on the page. And I worked line by line from that. I wanted to achieve an ambiguity between a love between 2 men and a love of God. That's it.
And I think it's magnificent, really, Jeremy, magnificent. Your voice is so unique and your connection to both the rhythm, the syntax, the language, beautiful. And I just love the way you capture that part of this psalm, which is where we go into this sense of consciousness of our mistakes. Harold, can you just scroll down a little so we can get to that? So I just love this. All that beauty that comes before. The book of your love is perfect, restoring my soul with simple trust. Gladden my heart, your wishes are mine. Mistakes I may make, perfection evades even you. So I love that you're even calling whoever the object is of this also not perfect. Also not perfect. But if I trip on our way, catch my hand lest I fall. Hold me tight by your side so I never transgress, never betray our covenant or its holiness. Again, can be either a very personal human to human or a sense of divine to me. And then beautiful coda with that that final line, which has so many gorgeous musical settings, which we understand why that prayer is so powerful. And I really love your use of the word palpitations instead of some of the other words we've seen. That's very, very, very creative and such concrete physicality to it.
Thank you.
Beautiful, Jeremy. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
For those who are curious, this is what Jeremy was referring to. This is the Art Scroll interlinear version, where the translation goes from, is literally under every single word. So for the Conductor, a psalm by David, the heavens declare. And some of us have found this useful to make sure they understand the literal meaning of every single word. So just a little something else to share. So
I think that's how music is written for Hebrew words also. Isn't that for those who are musicians here? So it's
syllable by syllable.
It's syllable by syllable. So it's a little hard to put. How does that work? So it's the music is in the right, is in the
music is left to right. The letters within each syllable are right to left, but the syllables go left to right. It's very challenging to read.
It's very hard to read. I can't do it.
Yeah, I've seen that, and it's just, and that's said by an Israeli. It's really crazy because the Hebrew words are divided up because the music goes in the opposite direction. That's why a lot of Hebrew music has the words in transliteration, even if it's being sung by Israelis, because it's a little bit easier to watch the transliterations. Don't you think, Yael? Do you do that or not so much?
I have a hard time reading transliteration anyway, even if it's not under music.
Yeah, okay, so maybe not, but it is, it's a thing an American English speaker never thinks about, how hard music is for using Western music notation and an alphabet or a system of writing that's not left to right. It's really, left. Now I'm all confused. Yeah, Hebrew goes right.
Yeah, you got it right.
Okay. Okay.
Judy Frank. Thank you, Jeremy.
Awakening. Oh, thank you, Jeremy.
Go ahead, Judy.
Hi. Awakening to the sounds of birds flying freely, your glorious gift of Eden on earth, mismanaged through years of greed, yet your sun greets me this morning. The blue sky is sprinkled with white clouds. Your paint palette is supreme above all others. The various shades of green always surprise me. The pink blossoms on the weeping cherry trees, the yellow and whites of daffodil. Yes, it's spring in the lower Catskills. Adonai, it is hard to find words to express eternal thanks. I woke up and am grateful that I seem to have the same soul as last night. The world has not fallen apart into molecular structures. You have created the world again as you do every day. I can be assured that sunset will arrive in due time, just as the dew you supply helps all plant life on earth. What did we do to deserve this rare human birth? With our coffee beans harvested elsewhere, our oranges, our eggs for breakfast. To guide us, you gave the supreme gift of your Torah. It makes us wise, yet ever fearful of your judgments. Even as they scare us, knowing they are just, but can be sweeter than honey, more precious than gold. Hoping you will cleanse me of my errors and faults. May my prayers be acceptable to you as a dream of a butterfly is fulfilled this morning. Eternal thanks, Adonai, Selah.
Wow, beautiful, Judy. I love this. So speak to us about writing this from Psalm 19.
Well, I was having a hard time writing it, trying to do line by line. And then I just gave up and I just said, well, I'm just going to write what I appreciate today. And this came out. And then it just, it's just a great gift. And I just did a few little help, editing, but kept it as is. I'm my worst editor, so that's why I'm afraid to ruin it too much. But that's it.
Well, I think you've also described what's another totally legitimate process. If it doesn't work, to really stay with the lines and play with how to make them meaningful to you, to step back a little bit and say, okay, what was the point of the psalm for you? And here it comes through very, 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 in a very, very strong and clear way that all of us who love the spring and these pictures of what comes in the spring, we can feel that beautiful sense of gratitude for the world. And you're taking the phrases of that the skies misaprim, that the heavens are speaking and the earth is speaking. You're telling us, you're giving it to us. And then to go, I love this. I woke up and I'm grateful that I seem to have the same soul as last night. You can't take anything for granted, right? That sense of gratitude for And that's something that I think Judaism does very powerfully, which is to remind us that every day is a gift. Going to sleep at night is a journey, and we don't know where we'll be on the other side of that journey. And then to go into the place going down, Harold, to the, again, then you acknowledge that there are, what did we do to deserve this? And you're explaining for you what some of the biggest mistakes we're doing as human beings. Our coffee beans harvested elsewhere, our oranges or eggs for breakfast, the sense of disconnect that is a mistake we're making as humanity. You don't say it in a theoretical way, so concrete. I love the concrete. Grace Paley once said in a meeting I was in where we were trying to write a political leaflet, she said, stick to the simplest words you know. Don't go fancy. What you need to do to, and here to say this in the simplest, our coffee beans harvested elsewhere, our oranges or eggs were beautiful. And then to acknowledge these mistakes, which as I keep saying, one of the powerful things for this psalm, hoping you will cleanse me of my errors. So what are you praying for? Some help with your errors. And may my prayers be acceptable as a dream of a butterfly is fulfilled this morning. That's so concrete. So that's a really beautiful, Judy. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Goldstein, Donna Gray, Barbara Grindel, Karina, Peter, sorry. Lori, Jeremy, and
Jack.
Let's see. I'm sorry, I pulled up the wrong one. Give me just a second. Just a second. There are many texts around here.
Yes. I'm in awe of you and Annika's screen business. So we're all very patient. Thank you.
Here we are. Sorry, view. Exit full screen. I think we're up to Jack Neiman. Is that correct, Annika, my loyal assistant?
Yes, absolutely. We're
right,
Jack, Ellen, Monica, so people know.
Okay. Jack Neiman, here we go.
Beautiful.
Contained universe for the leader, a Psalm of David, inspired by Psalm 19. A deep coral hibiscus in our container garden proclaims, like a mute trumpet, Hamakom's infinite majesty. Only last evening, a folded cocoon, a hidden, unknown universe silently awaiting its entrance. Now, unraveled in the still fresh, humid dawn, caressed by morning breezes and warming sun, in balletic pantomime nods to nearby tangerine Cassandra, aubergine angelonia, blushing pentas, and buttercup double calancho. 5 velvet veined translucent petals greet, unfurl a regal wave high and open, arching downward, a chuppah sheltering pistil and proud attendant stamen, all performing appointed ceremonial duties, officiants at this brief, glorious debut, an ephemeral floral cotillion. By sunset, the deep coral hibiscus in our container garden, which just hours ago proclaimed like a mute trumpet Hamakom's infinite majesty, pageant concluded, skirt folded silently, curtsies low, retreats for a new precious blossom to dazzle another day. May we blossom daily, unfold a guile-free portal, bloom our inner beauty, renew our commitment, play our truthful obligato part, proclaim Hamakom's infinite majesty in virtuoso harmony with creation until our final bow.
Wow, Jack. So first of all, I don't know some of these words. Let's go back to some of your botanical references. What is a calancho?
A calancho?
Calancho.
Well, I saw a picture earlier, so I included 2 pictures. It's a type of flower. No, okay, this is the hibiscus that inspired the whole thing.
Yeah.
And okay, so here you see the little yellow ones. Those are Kalancho. The orange one on the right is a Chrysandra. They're from Sri Lanka. And the little blushing pink pentas are the little pink ones there. And the purpley ones, the aubergine angelonia. There you go.
Wow.
And
well, so I'm in awe of the detail. This is just so perfect to have this level of, I really love this kind of level.
No, not glorious. Gloriana is.
Oh, you said Gloriana. You said glorious when you read it.
Oh, did I? I'm so sorry. Gloriana.
Saved.
And well, as you know, Rabbi, and for the class, hello to the class, and thank you so much for all the beautiful offerings. It's really such a pleasure and a privilege to be a part of this class. So I am a farmer. That's where I grew up, on the prairies of Saskatchewan. And so this need to grow, and the, you know, when the COVID epidemic came upon us like a plague, our world became smaller, but it became larger too. We expanded our knowledge with Psalms class, and you know, just this whole
interesting
universe with this little flower. One day at night it was all folded up, and the next morning you walked out on our terrace and there it was so gorgeous that you were in awe.
Yeah. Wow.
Of the majesty of the creation. And so, you know, so your universe was smaller, but it was, that's why it's called a contained universe, because it's like the opposite. It's contained, but it's also expanding, and you know, it's the joy of creation and the awesomeness of creation.
Well, this is such a beautiful expression of it. And just to say, may we blossom daily. What a fantastic prayer. What a profound prayer. You so deeply, and again, really incredibly powerfully reflecting that verse that says the heavens are expressing the gloriana of the universe. And here you are finding a way in through your particular personal, deep, deep, deep connection. Beautiful.
And the ark, you know, the ark of the sun in the tent. So it was the day of that flower. They're only there one day.
Wow.
And then they retreat and bow and make way. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, wow. Beautiful.
Thank you. It was
beautiful.
Okay. Am I correct that Monica Raymond is next?
I have Ellen reading next and Monica after her.
You have Ellen Poster? Okay, let me.
Yes.
Ellen. I don't know where Ellen went.
Then switch them and do Monica and then Ellen.
Okay, I'm not, okay, let's do Monica and then I'll find out.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. Layers. If you want to know God, study geology. Layers of gneiss and schist, volcano swirling magma, fossil in its wake, the hard crystalline ache at the core. Or study astronomy or particle physics. What seems solid, a superfast soup of electrons floating in an emptiness which is really crowded. Dark matter, muons leaping in and out of time. The sun we rely on, itching with sunspots. Unpredictable as a bridegroom who's in love 1 minute and wants a divorce the next. If you want to know God, maybe study the texts that have accreted like limestone around an ancient word. Torah, a tiny window in a midden of drash. Talmud, the law in a gristle of reflection. The Blue Cliff Record, Book of Serenity, monks rudely insulting the riddles of other monks, and suddenly everyone is enlightened. Toss yarrow sticks and let the ideograms rise. If you want to know yourself, you must understand you too are layered like the earth and word. What is commentary? What is someone else's voice? What are Paleolithic fragments you have buried in your abdomen, in your hip joints? What are the dark expanses? Where are the empty spaces? What is that bone, Archaeopteryx, in your throat? Can you spit that out? Tunnel back to your first syllable? Did I get it right?
Wow. Talk about a contrast with going very small into the world of flowers and of butterflies. This is a spectacular zooming out. Fantastic, Monica. Sorry for the sirens. All right,
Okay.
talk to us. Tell us about writing this from Psalm 19.
Well, I actually wrote it really fast, and I thought about it a long time. And you can see it's really structured exactly like Psalm 19, like first the natural world, then the texts, and then the self. And then I realized that the thing that was holding them together for me, well, there's actually two things, even though it's called layers, but it's layers and also unpredictability, like openness, in a sense. So those two things were present in each of those things. And, you know, Torah is actually like earth in that way, like layers have accreted on top of it. And then the last section, like that's just a I think I might have lost sound here.
Yes, you did. I couldn't hear you for a minute.
I couldn't hear you either, but now you're back.
Okay.
All right.
Well, beautiful. And I really love the way these different Psalms are exploring different parts of the natural world that mean something to each of you in such a profound way. Really. And what are the Paleolithic fragments you have buried in your abdomen, in your hip joints? Spectacular. Really great, Monica. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I will say that Ellen, are you here, Ellen Poster? Because
yes.
I don't have your text. If you could email it to me, I will put it up as soon as I get it, okay?
Harold, I just sent it to you in an email.
Okay. So great, and we'll move on to Ira then while I get Ellen's up. How's that?
Good.
Thanks, Harold.
Okay, this is called Right Speech. Each dawn, as the sun begins its quotidian dash across the sky, I sit on my cushion and intone the grounding words.
Excuse me, just a second, Ira. Someone is unmuted. I'm hearing someone's background.
And Tasha, can you make me co-host so I could be muted?
Whoops.
Tasha, can you make me co-host so I could also monitor the muting?
You were co-host. Let me check again.
I think Monica didn't mute herself back. All right. Ira, sorry, why don't you start again?
I will indeed. Okay. Right speech. Each dawn, as the sun begins its quotidian dash across the sky, I sit on my cushion and intone these grounding words. Being mindful of the suffering caused by careless and malicious speech, we are determined to use words to heal the wounds of anger, misunderstanding, hate, and fear. At day's end, when the stars and the moon are whispering of your perfection, I ask myself, how many times today did my words fly with fury? How many times did I speak carelessly, dishonestly, hurtfully? Did my speech fuel fears, harbor hatred? I tell myself, I am not perfect, but shame seeps in through the cracks in my heart. Have I sinned? Do I even believe in sin? It's convenient to blame you. After all, how many times have I asked you to guard my tongue from speaking evil? Do you even hear my supplications? Tomorrow, when the sun's heat radiates in the sky, with the morning intonation, I will renew my determination so that the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart may be pleasing to you, to me, and to anyone who might be listening.
Oh, I love that, Ira. So speak to us, and you've left the haiku form here.
You know, it just did not want to be a haiku. And obviously what spoke to me the most about Psalm 19 was everything about words and speech. And then of course the coda, the last may the meditations, the words of my mouth. And as you've heard me talk about before, I have this meditation practice, and literally I'm usually on my cushion at dawn. I mean, that's when I get up, and that's when I sit on my cushion and say those words. That's one of 5 what I call mindfulness trainings, and that's the one about right speech. And of course, I did try to weave in some of the images from the Psalm of the sun, in the morning coming up, and then the evening with the moon and the stars. But I didn't want to go off into the entirety of the Psalm. It's like this is what was speaking to me, particularly because, I've really noticed as this pandemic has dragged on that it's hard to, sometimes the tumult inside comes out in very careless speech.
Yeah.
And my poor husband, Kenneth, is usually the recipient of it because he's the person I'm with most of the time. So this is something that's just been on my mind a lot. And this writing this psalm gave me the opportunity to explore it in this way. So I did abandon the haiku for this. Yep. Maybe I'll come back, who knows? Yep. But this is what wanted to be written.
Well, isn't there the famous story, was it Leonardo da Vinci, or who is it, that talked about sculpting from a piece of stone and just letting the stone emerge? I can't remember the exact story.
Michelangelo said, I chipped away everything that wasn't David.
Right. So there you are. You have to let things emerge as they come. And I love, Ira, that you chose in this psalm to dive deep into that issue of speech and of words and of language. And others went a very different direction, which is the power of doing this. But it is definitely right there in the psalm. This psalm really is, you've really taken a piece of it and expressed it and amplified it and made it your own in a way that's very meaningful to me, and I'm sure to many, many, many of us. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ira.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And speech, I think, is the easiest way for us to access this issue of, we make a lot of mistakes. Speech is probably the way that all of us make more mistakes than in any other single place. We're all basically trying to be good people. We're all trying to, but wow, when we're angry or anxious, how quickly we lose control of the words that come out of our mouths, and how much work it takes, right? It takes to be able to say, okay, then now how am I going to handle it? What am I going to respond? So beautiful. Thank you, Ira. And the prayer to ask for help in dealing with our speech is very powerful.
All right. And we have found Ellen's text.
Wonderful.
Ellen.
Okay. To my God of relationship. We are in a relationship. I take you at your word that you created me in your image. I haven't always chosen you. I didn't always choose my parents either, or my children and their singularities, until I did, and forever, upon first glance. Or my husband, whom I chose and then I didn't and then I did, when love filled the space where choice had lived. And friendship offers unexpected joys. You, God, I chose as a child until I didn't, then I did, so many times in 73 years, in a year, in a day. a mountain of relationships chosen or broken. You and me, he and him, she and they define our lives. We speak through our pronouns as bees dance in a hive. Our pronouns speak our identity in simplicity, relating soul to soul, or creating a chasm too wide to cross if they reveal a truth too hard for others to know. So small a word, a mere breath of a syllable, to encompass the heart's meditation on what must be acceptable, or a weapon on the erring tongue killing souls with impunity. The heavens and earth proclaim your creative diversity. Your creations glorify your gorgeous variety. You are my rock. I own my identity.
Wow, Ellen, this is fabulous. What a way to explore this. Talk to us about writing this from Psalm 19.
So as many of us, I saw it about being about speech and about relationship. And as you just said, Rabbi, it was strange that you had just said that, how speech can make a relationship, break a relationship, cause a rupture. And right now in the country, there's this ongoing speech, conversation, a belittling, destructive, hurtful conversation about pronouns. And yet it's the pronouns that make our relationships, right? We use them to connect with each other. So that's what I was trying to get at in the poem.
Beautiful, really beautiful. I love this. You, God, I chose as a child until I didn't, then I did, so many times in 73 years. And in a day, in a year, that's so honest and deep. So thank you for this. I love it. I think all of the offerings today, I mean, yesterday and today, have spoken so directly. I am deeply moved at how people are emerging and finding their voice and their place with these Psalms. Very, very, very moving. I'm reminded by a midrash that says that every blade of grass has an angel that hovers above it saying, grow. So can you imagine if we had that sense that there's a little angel above every blade of grass, which means above each of us, saying, grow, don't keep going, keep breathing, keep living, keep growing. And I really feel that in the Psalms today. So I want to say something about where we're going for tomorrow and for Thursday. Harold, is this the right time to do that? Are we done with all of the offerings?
No, we have 4 more offerings today.
Oh, 4 more offerings. Oh, okay. I thought Ellen was our final one. Okay, sorry. Let's go through the offerings for today.
Okay. Let's get back to the offerings and Sarah Siegel.
Okay. OMG. For D Nice, the DJ, a psalm of Edith and Herman Siegel's version of David. The best of nature signals God's revelation, presence. Mica layers and tulip trees, lap cats, zebras, glaciers atop volcanoes, and surprise waterfalls. They inspire awe like my gorgeous ex-boyfriend, see below left, whom I dreamt of last night, though we have been just friends for practically 40 years. Excuse me. In the dream, he asked me to marry him in front of his family in the way back of a station wagon his father was driving. I answered with a kiss, and then he asserted, but you'll have to love me for who I am. Sorry about the cat. I pulled away and his face was made up like a female clown. I wondered what happened to his wife. And then I remembered mine and demurred. In reality, after sophomore year of college, we did escape each other's heat, and I found a path to God in Jerusalem, the world's Omphalos, with more navel gazing than I'd have wished, and more glints and hints of spiritual heights, mostly through gazing at others' navels. God, you have remained my redeemer, my rock. D-Nice, play us out with the Police's Oh My God, chased by Jonathan Butler's Sarah, Sarah.
All right, speak to us, Sarah. Great photo.
Yeah, this is a whole exercise in conquering ego that I haven't won. So when the things that spoke to me were, oh, this is such a gorgeous psalm. How can I possibly improve upon dripping with honey and, you know, better than gold? So I left those out, but I was immediately moved by, I can't remember which translator said, or, you know, which interpreter referred to the muscle man, you know, running his heat. But they all had versions of that. And I just remember this amazing photo I have of this one boyfriend I ever had, and with whom I am still friends. Anyway, so that had to be in there. Then I really did have the dream about him recently. And, you know, there was this whole groom thing. But, you know, if you can scroll down for me, Harold, just as a favor, please. Thanks. And then this thing about can't escape his heat. Yes, I could, because I was a lesbian, but I was also thinking, no, I'm going to find, you know, the man I can be attracted to in Israel. So went off to the one-year program in Jerusalem and did my exploration there. I know it's all very funny.
Well,
you know.
we all can relate to it in different ways. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I guess, but the whole ego thing is I was just feeling like, can improve upon this psalm. You know, what, like, how do I get over? And I'm going to leave that theme, and just in the interest of time, just say, I remember, I will never forget Rabbi Kleinbaum during one of your high holiday drashot, you were saying, memory is good, nostalgia not so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I could not resist when I saw this psalm and it was talking about the runner and his heat. I was just like, oh my God, that's, you know, this boyfriend. And anyway, so this was a descent into nostalgia, unfortunately.
Wow.
I love your style very much, Sarah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, we don't have, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that we had four more.
Okay, Linda, then Shep, then Linda Watskin, and we can do it.
Right.
Linda
Okay,
Solomon.
I got it open. Okay, I find it very interesting that we all have different voices for the same words that we read. It's just so wonderful. An offering for Psalm 19 to the conductor. As I look from the music to the conductor, the performers are called to order. As his baton rises to bring the instruments in, I follow the arc of the wand which takes my eyes up to the heavens. The heavens sing of your glory, yet they make no sound. It is their being that sings their song. In my heart I hear the strings soar in their glorious majesty, yet all is silent around me. The earth, too, in all its beauty, declares your artistry. The sun rises from his tent in the east and lends his strong song to that of the sky and land. He never departs from his course until he circles the sky all the way to the west. Then, as the moon ascends, the sun returns to his tent, his heat now cooled, to await the next concert through the sky on the morrow. With a great crescendo, the orchestra plays the chords of your music, your words, fulfilling our souls with the gratitude of your gifts. You are constant, infinite. Yours is the melody of the ages. It is a song of truth and love. I only pray that I can stay the path, that my feet will not falter, and that when it is my turn to add my song and dance to the composition, I will remain true and steady. Because, dear Adonai, you are my light and my life. You guide my steps and my voice. May my words forever be a source of joy for you, Adonai, and my dance, excuse me, my dance, pleasing to your eye, my strength and my home.
Wow, Linda, such an expression of the beauty of God's natural universe. So speak to us a little bit.
Well, like Jeremy, what caught me was the idea of the conductor.
Uh-huh.
And I always find it interesting that I'm not the only one that thinks music immediately.
Uh-huh.
But this was the third one I wrote for this. And when the idea of the conductor hit me, it took no time to write this one.
Uh-huh.
And of course, when I think of a concert, I think of the orchestra, but I also think of the other entertainers, like the dancers and the singers as well. So I had to add that voice into this with the orchestra because I felt that mine is a dance and a song that I sing for God. So
beautiful, beautiful, Linda.
Thank you.
Yes, I think it's a beautiful reference to this, seeing I hear the strings soar in their glorious majesty. What a great way to experience the heavens, right? Beautiful. Thank you.
Shep?
Yes, hi. I just want to make sure, Shep, you're here, right?
Yeah, I'm here. Not for something insubstantial and not so good.
Shep, we love your work. Don't worry about that.
Shep, Psalm 19. The heavens speak of the glory of God, and the sky praises its creator.
The teachings and precepts of God are pure and just.
I am in awe of God. I joyfully obey your instructions. You are perfect.
May the spoken words of my mouth and the unspoken words of my heart find favor in your eyes, God, my rock, my redeemer, my renewal.
Beautiful, Shep. And this is the first time we've had well, I guess it's an antiphonal reading of a psalm. So fabulous. We do believe that they were sung antiphonally. So this is that was beautiful as the performance of it. I love it, Shep, and very simply and direct, you're expressing the essence of this psalm. And that's a beautiful thing to do. Love it, Shep. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. You always keep it good.
It's beautiful. Simple is good. That's not a bad thing, Shep. You've boiled down the essence of the psalm to these verses, and you really get right to it in a way that's very beautiful, powerful, and accessible. Thank you.
Toda rabba.
Bakasha.
All right. Linda Watskin, who may have our shortest offering yet. If indeed I have all of it. Linda? Is Linda Watskin here?
She is here on the list.
Linda, can you unmute yourself?
She is unmuted, but for some reason we don't hear her.
Well, then I'm going to read Linda. Can you unmute yourself?
According to the computer, she's unmuted, but we're having there must be some technical difficulty here.
Well,
hang on just 1 second.
Yeah.
Use mine.
Now we can hear
I'll
you.
use Dorothy's.
Okay, good. Use Dorothy's. Good idea.
Even a fallen tree.
Wait. We can't hear you. Wait.
Linda. They can't hear you.
Do it again. Start again. Camera. We're ready now.
Go ahead, Lynn.
With words, even a fallen tree leaves a clear shadow of God as creator.
Gorgeous. Linda, you want to say a few words about writing it? Gorgeous.
Say a few words about writing it. Say a few words about writing it.
One of the things I noticed about the song, how often the mention of words are, and in verse 3, 4, 5, and 7, I think, or 9, even the word is words. And so it spoke to me so powerfully about how words are so important, and words are important to me.
Indeed, and this talk about boiling something down to the essence, really gorgeous. And even a fallen tree leaves a clear shadow of God as creator. Wow. Right to the point. Beautiful, Linda. Thank you. And thank you, Dorothy, for the technological help getting Linda here. Good teamwork.
Yeah,
So, and Annika, have we covered all of our offerings for Psalm 19?
I believe Ben Shafran, well, yes, go ahead, Rabbi.
Okay, so if that finishes our Psalm 19, which is this very special Psalm, and I hope they're all special. It's like I love all of my children. Thursday, we will have a special guest to our gathering, Rabbi Simcha Weintraub, who Sarah Sloan knows very well, and it was her idea to invite him, and he's very graciously accepted our invitation. He did the book about he did the book that has the 10 Psalms of the Bratslav Rebbe. And this is from many years ago, and each Psalm he asked a different contemporary rabbi to speak about it. So I've invited him to class to talk about the book and to talk about the Bratslav. It's called Tikkun HaKlali, the complete healing, these 10 Psalms. And we discussed it, you'll remember, because the first of those Psalms we have already studied together, which was Psalm 16. And they go through their 10 Psalms. So if you have this book, look at it again, read it for Thursday. But if you don't have it, don't worry. I'm going to interview him. He didn't want to prepare a presentation. So I'm going to ask him questions about the book, about the Tikkun HaKlali, and the Bratslav tradition of doing that. So everybody, that's Thursday, which I'm really excited about. So tomorrow, since it's a one day before that, and I don't want to start Psalm 20 till next week, we're going to study Psalm 67, which is the special Psalm for the Omer. We're now in the Omer period between Pesach and Shavuot. And, we've sprinkled in our studies. We've gone out of order sometimes, like we did for Psalm 27 or for Kabbalat Shabbat Psalms or for Psalms of Hallel, because of the moment of time. So we are going to study Psalm 67 tomorrow and see if you could figure out between now and then why it is the Psalm for the Omer. And we're going to do a one-day study of Psalm 67. And then Thursday, we'll do the Tikkun HaKlali of Bratslav with Rabbi Simcha Weintraub. And then on Monday, we will begin Psalm 20. Is that clear with everybody?